So for this assignment, I'll be analysing bowling in cricket. So a bowler in cricket must get their technique right every time to have the best chance of getting out the batsman. They must generate the most velocity as possible with the run-up. They adjust their centre of mass to maintain balance when bowling. They have to generate the best torque possible and lean forward on the sagittal plane. So levers. The role of a lever is to do different movements in the body, and there are three different levers. There are three different categories in the lever to do these movements. So these are the load, which is the weight applied to the movement. For example, a bicep curl, the load is the actual weight itself. The effort is what's pulling up the load and what causes the force of movement to happen. When raising your bicep, it's pulling up the load in a bicep curl. So your bicep is the effort. The fulcrum is the axis or joint where the movement takes place. For example, in the bicep curl, your fulcrum would be your elbow. There are three different types of lever, and these are first, second, and third class levers. They all do different types of movement. So, a first class lever is used for movements such as nodding your head, and this is where the effort is your neck itself, which is controlling the movement. You will need this movement for activities such as looking up for a rebound in basketball. The second class lever performs movements such as a calf raise. This is because the fulcrum is at the ball of your feet and not in the middle or at the joint. You will need this movement for things such as running up to a football to kick it, for example. The third class lever does movements such as a bicep curl, as I discussed before. The fulcrum is at the joint, which is the elbow, and then pulls up the load. So, analysis of levers. When the athlete looks up to bowl, he's using the first class lever to help with his accuracy. This is because when he's running forward and then leans forward, he has to look up to see where he's throwing the ball. The lever being used in the preparation phase is the second class lever. This is because during their run up, the athlete is raising their calves. This is because the fulcrum, as I discussed earlier, is at the balls of your feet. The third class lever is being used to move your arm above your head, like the rotation at your shoulder. So, axes of rotation. There are three different types of axes of rotation, and these are vertical, sagittal, and transverse axes. Your vertical axis is the axis that goes through your body from head to toe. The sagittal axis is the axis that goes from the front of your body to the back of your body. Then finally, the transverse axis goes from either side of your body, so hip to hip, for example. The movement that can take place at the vertical axis can be something like when a trampolinist rotates in a circle in the air during a routine. The sagittal axes will be movements such as a cartwheel. The transverse axes will be something like a forward roll, front flip. So the cartwheel, forward roll, front flip, they'll be all used in something like a gymnastics routine, and they're two different axes. So when we come to analysing axes, the axis of rotation being used is the sagittal axis. This is when the athlete has to rotate their arm around in a circle to bowl and generate the most velocity possible. During the run-up in bowling, the axis of rotation being used is the transverse axis. So, moving on to torque. The equation for torque is torque equals force times distance, and torque causes a rotational movement to occur, and it causes the human body, and it is caused by the human body by the muscles at the joints. So, centre of mass. The centre of mass is the place on the body where an equal amount of mass surrounds it. We have a centre of mass to ensure we keep our balance and don't fall over. This is usually around the belly button, but if someone raises their arms above their head, for example, their centre of mass will also raise because there is more weight going above the normal centre of mass position. Every athlete has to manipulate the centre of mass to give them more stability in the activity. For example, a trampolinist will adjust their centre of mass when doing a performance to ensure they keep good stability and balance to get the best score possible. An athlete may lower their body position, moving their centre of mass down to give them more stability and control. For example, in sumo wrestling, they get really, really low down to keep their balance while their centre of mass is also low down, so they don't get shoved over as easily. An example of an athlete manipulating the centre of mass is a 100-metre sprinter. When they come off the blocks, the centre of mass is towards the front of their body. This will allow them to accelerate faster, as the centre of mass is towards the front of their body. And to ensure that they don't fall over, they have to take big strides forward. This helps them obviously accelerate faster because their centre of mass is in front of them, pushes them to go fast, and their big strides breaks the fall. After the first phase of the sprint, the athlete will go into more of an upright position, while they're with their centre of mass back to its normal position. This obviously helps them keep their balance and stability. So, finally, analysing centre of mass in bowling. For the preparation phase, the centre of mass mostly remains around the belly button in the normal position. This helps them obviously stay balanced when running up to give them the most accuracy when they come to bowl. When the athlete begins the actual bowl itself, the centre of mass raises as the athlete rotates their arm around their head as more weight is raised above the normal centre of mass position. During the run-up, the athlete has to maintain stability because otherwise, when they come to throw the ball, the accuracy will be completely off and they won't be able to get the batsman out. So, when they begin the run-up, they don't start in like a proper sprint race off the blocks where the centre of mass is in front of them. They start in a more upright position to make sure accuracy is on point for the bowl. When bowling, the centre of mass changes from the run-up to the execution of the bowl. During the run-up, the centre of mass is located around the belly button. Around the belly button. When executing the bowl, the centre of mass goes in front of your body, which allows the athlete to lean forward to throw and generate more velocity. So this helps the athlete generate more power while taking a stride forward to maintain stability. So when taking the massive leap forward to throw, it helps them massively to generate the most velocity possible, but the big stride breaks their fall and makes sure that they don't fall over and get injured. The centre of mass also changes when the athlete rotates their shoulder using the third-class lever. The athlete manipulates the centre of mass to generate more velocity in the bowl, so it's harder for the batsman. This is because as the centre of mass is forward, it generates more force. The position of the centre of mass would make them fall over if they don't take the stride forward, as it is in front of their body. As the bowl is carried out, their feet is spread out, therefore giving them a larger base to land on, which gives them more stability. As the centre of mass shifts in front of the body, as the athlete leans as the centre of mass shifts in front of their body, as the athlete leans forward, it helps them generate more momentum, helping them throw the ball with a higher velocity. This is because the athlete has to take a big stride forward to make sure he doesn't fall with his stride, as I mentioned earlier. And this helps the ball go a lot faster. In the follow-through, the athlete continues to rotate their arm at the shoulder joint. The class 2 lever is the athlete's foot, and it allows them to stop their run. And the third class lever could be the knee, where the athlete stops running also. The athlete goes into a more natural position after the bowl, into a more neutral position after the bowl is executed, and the centre of mass goes back to its normal position. For the actual follow-through of the bowl, the centre of mass is still in front of their body as they are leaning forward, so they still put a foot forward to present the fall. They also continue running a bit after the actual bowl itself to like slow down their pace and stop them from just stopping dead and then falling over. So this like kind of run-off thing helps them with their balance. The levers positively affect the follow-through phase because it allows the athlete to gain control after the bowl is executed. They allow them to navigate their body and direct it where they want it to go. Also, with the centre of mass, it allows the athlete to maintain the stability as it shifts. All of this will allow the bowler to execute the best bowl possible, as this is very important. Thank you for listening to my Biomechanics free assignment.